And speaking of Fox News, actually, this is a good segue into our SB1070 discussion, which is that the Supreme Court has struck down a number of provisions on from SB1070, the Arizona law, which basically a crackdown on immigrants, allowing for police to ask for documentation of anybody who looks like they may be an illegal immigrant. What that means, we don't know. Certainly skin color is a factor. And the Fox News headline was that the court had upheld one part of SB 1070, and then as a subtitle below, we had certain other provisions struck down. But tell us about the reality. I mean, what is the key provision that was upheld, and what was struck down by the Supreme Court?
Well, the part that was upheld is only tenuously upheld, preliminarily upheld. It's not
Right.
they're not even saying flat out that it's constitutional. The part
Sure.
where you could essentially check someone for their papers, without a warrant.
Sure.
But they're saying we need to see that part put into effect and see how you execute it and implement it before we can determine if you're executing it in a constitutional or unconstitutional way. So it's
and would it be you need to be checked against unreasonable searches and seizures? That's
correct,
the barometer,
exactly.
I would
so
guess.
They're basically, you don't get to trump the Fourth Amendment because you passed this law. So if you execute this in a way that's within the Fourth Amendment, then we don't have a problem here. Let's
Sure.
see how you handle it.
Right.
So that's not a grand round of applause for that provision, and the rest of it is completely in line with what the Obama administration's argument was, which is immigration is a federal responsibility, and the states don't get to go rogue and undercut federal law and federal policy.
So is it jurisdictional, or is it that the state can't supersede the federal law? Or is it, in other words, is it that Jan Brewer just doesn't have the jurisdiction to even make this type of law? Or is it that the law would go above and beyond what the federal law states?
My understanding, I read the opinion very, very quickly. My
Yeah.
understanding is, there is a federal regime, there is a federal law. Whether you're going above it or below it, you can't get in the middle of it. You can't get in the federal government's way. And you can't add a penalty. In the case of what the federal law said, it's not a criminal violation to be an undocumented immigrant and look for work. It's not an omission in the federal law. They made a decision to say that's not a criminal penalty. So you can't, as a state, all of a sudden decide, yes, it is a criminal penalty. When the federal government's made a call, you can't trump their call. That's what the court was saying.
Do you think that the Fox News, the initial Fox News line I saw when this happened this morning on television of one part upheld is going to be the right-wing talking point on this, or is that already evaporating?
I mean, I saw the Fox News headline, a couple hours after what you saw.
Yeah.
They'd already walked it back. They said law down but not out. And I suspect there's actually a burbling of resentment amongst conservatives about Fox News' editorial judgment. How much do they cover for the Republican Party and not act as cheerleaders of the fringiest conservatism possible?
Sure.
A lot of conservatives were mad that they thought they were flocking for Mitt Romney and not giving Santorum and Gingrich enough airtime.
Hey, and it led to Newt Gingrich sitting with the CNN people at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He really showed them, didn't he?
I mean, and understand here, the conservative movement is so scarred from when Bush Sr. nominated David Souter to the Supreme Court. Their rallying cry has been no more Souters. They stopped George Bush Jr. from nominating Harriet Miers.
Right. Well, let's be honest. She was completely incompetent.
Well, incompetent, yes, but that's not what they cared about.
No, of course. No, but it happened to coincide with logic and reason. I know it was by chance only, but
I have a different idea about that.
Okay.
I think that, all Supreme Court justices, even Clarence Thomas, who we all love to hate for a bunch of different reasons, is very intelligent. I mean, they're all very smart, very knowledgeable, and facts do have a liberal bias. So when you get smart people over the course of time, even if they're right-wing extremists, at some point they're gonna make a logical decision which is gonna have a liberal bias.
In conservative circles, their theory about people like Souter is once you get nominated and you're insulated from politics, that the legal establishment has a liberal bias and you get sucked into their board and whatever conservative bearings you had before get washed away.
It's like the tractor beam in Star Wars. Once you're in the circle of influence, you're just going to get pulled in.
They feel the way about Souter. They felt the way about Kennedy. Kennedy's rulings on gay rights and his respect for international law. They're livid about that.
Right.
And now for John Roberts, this is his first break really with the far right in his short tenure to be on the pro-immigrant side of this ruling. It's going to feed their suspicion that they got snowed again by another Bush. Now, maybe they won't feel that way if he rules against health care on Thursday. We'll see. But I suspect that's the general tenor of the conservative conversation right now. And Fox News initially was not in step with that. So they're probably very angry at Fox News that they think they're part of the problem, not part of the conservative solution.
All right, let's take a break on that note. There's so much more to get to today. Lewis is out. Bill Scher is in today. I want to talk about what is the difference between outsourcing and offshoring, and does it mean that Bain Capital was a really great place for Mitt Romney to help this country?
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.